Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth, the Education Coordinator for Marlene's Market and Deli. Tonight's special guest that we have with us, and we've had the pleasure of working with her a couple of times now this year on our 2024 class schedule. We have Dr. Shizue, and she is a naturopathic doctor resident at Federal Way Naturopathy. And she's speaking on a very important topic tonight: eat for healthy skin, the gut skin connection. Thank you so much, Dr. Shizue.
Thanks so much, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me and hosting me for this very important event and topic. Let me go ahead and share my PowerPoint with you all. So give me 1 second here. Looks like I have to move Zoom here. There we go. All right. Can you see that okay? Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna move everybody out of the way. Perfect. All right. So my topic for today is going to be Glow from Within, unveiling the gut-skin connection. So a little bit about me. I received my doctorate in naturopathic medicine in 2023, so just this last year. And I'm currently doing my first year of residency in primary care at Federal Way Naturopathy. So for those of you who might be unfamiliar with naturopathic medicine, naturopathic doctors are licensed primary care providers in Washington State. We use tools such as lab testing, diet, nutrition, lifestyle, physical medicine, and herbs to really treat the root cause of someone's symptoms. So we're also able to prescribe most medications if needed and order labs. One of the things that naturopathic doctors excel with is preventative medicine, where we can work with you to prevent symptoms before they can progress into disease. I saw there's a couple of chats that popped up really quick. Oh, perfect. That's from Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, so to start, let's briefly discuss the importance of understanding the connection between the skin and your gastrointestinal health. Both the skin and the gut are vital organs that serve as barriers to our external environment. If you kind of think about it, our skin is very external. You can kind of see that right away. But actually, our GI system is also kind of an external environment. We're kind of built like feeding tubes going through all of our system. So even though we think about the digestive system as internal, just know that our food will pass through that gut all the way through. So we are constantly interacting with a lot of different microorganisms, and their health is really interdependent on each other. So we're going to be talking about that relationship here, and we can hopefully better manage skin conditions and promote overall wellness by understanding that connection. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the gut-skin axis. So that refers to this really complex and bi-directional communication between the gastrointestinal system and the skin. So that communication occurs through a lot of different mechanisms, including your nervous system, your immune system, and your endocrine system. So good thing to note that both the gut as well as your skin have their own microbiomes. So they play crucial roles in maintaining the health of those systems. And whenever you have disruptions in the gut microbiome, you can have profound effects on the skin, and we'll see pretty shortly vice versa as well. So this is just a little diagram of normal healthy skin, and then that normal, this is the gut microbiome, the gut microflora that you'll see inside. So everything is normal. All of the cells are kind of right up next to each other, forming a really solid barrier so that you can keep everything in here, which is in the lumen of our intestine, So in the actual like tube portion of our intestine, keep all that stuff outside of the system. And then when you see if there is an inflammatory skin condition, like here in this bottom right section, you can see that there's gap junctions or space between some of these cells, your enterocytes in your microbiome itself. So you can kind of see that it's not forming a really strong barrier anymore, and you have things that are able to get through to the other side. And here you can see some inflammation, some immune cells that are present and kind of fighting whatever has gone through. So first of all, gut health affects skin health. Like we just saw with that diagram, poor gut health can lead to inflammation and imbalances in the body, which can often manifest in the skin. So for instance, an unhealthy gut can result in conditions like acne, eczema, psoriasis. And we'll discuss a little later in more detail in this presentation about details about that. So vice versa as well. Your skin health affects your gut health. So stress and skin conditions can affect your gut motility and your gut microbiota. Again, creating that bi-directional relationship. So one of the prime examples of this is I think about stress and skin conditions. So skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, acne, they can all lead to significant amounts of both physical stress and psychological stress, right? So stress in turn can affect your gut motility or that movement of your gastrointestinal system, and it can cause an imbalance of your gut microbiota. Stress can also spike all your cortisol. So cortisol is your stress hormone, and cortisol can affect your gut permeability. So the junctions between all of your enterocytes or your gut cells, that can cause some gaps in there. Um, and it can change your microbiota composition. So like I was saying, with the elevated cortisol and those junctions between the cells, that is called leaky gut, to where things that are not supposed to be traveling inside of your system will kind of travel through those gut enterocytes and get into your body. One good example of this is with eczema. So stress can trigger eczema flare-ups, as you might know, which in turn can increase stress levels due to, discomfort and visible symptoms of having eczema. So the elevated stress impacts your gut health by decreasing your gut motility and changing your microbiota imbalance. And eczema can also disrupt your sleep. So it can lead to poor sleep quality because of the itching and discomfort of your skin. And that lack of sleep can increase your stress levels, increase your cortisol production, and again, negatively impact your gut health. So again, example of a bi-directional relationship there. So let's talk a little bit more about the gut microbiome. So the gut microbiome consists of trillions of different microorganisms, and that includes bacteria, viruses, fungi, and a lot of other microbes. So these microorganisms, they live in our gut. They also live on our skin, and they form pretty diverse communities. They play really essential roles in digestion, immune function, and even just protection against harmful pathogens or harmful things that might be trying to get in. So having a healthy microbiome is one of the keys to maintaining both gut health and skin health. I also want to mention a couple of other roles of the microbiome. So you also have this idea of the gut-brain axis. So the reason why this is important is that your gut bacteria, so all these little microbes that are living in the inside, in the lumen of your intestinal system, they do a lot of work. They produce neurotransmitters like serotonin or GABA, and both of those things influence your mood and behavior. The gut-brain axis involves, again, this bidirectional communication between the gut microbiome and the central nervous system, or your brain and spinal cord. which can affect your stress responses, anxiety, depression. So really big one here. So maintaining your microbiome will also help improve your mood or kind of regulate your mood over time, because something like 80% of your neurotransmitters are actually produced in the gut. One of the other really interesting roles about the microbiome is it helps with hormone metabolism. So they help to break down and metabolize estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, cortisol even, and that impacts your hormonal balance. So again, coming back, everything sort of plays a role and interlaces with each other. So keeping a good, healthy, and diverse microbiome can have a really positive effect on making sure your mood is stable, making sure your hormones are stable, and also impacting your skin. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the gut microbiome in skin health. So, what does it actually do when it comes to skin health? The gut microbiome helps to digest your food, absorb nutrients, and regulate the immune system. So, they produce metabolites that have an anti-inflammatory effect, and they support your skin health. So, a balanced gut microbiome can reduce skin inflammation and provide a lot of essential nutrients that contribute to a healthy skin barrier. Things like zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D. These are all really crucial in helping prevent and maintain and manage any skin conditions. One of the interesting things too is the gut microbiome helps with immune development. So it plays a crucial role in the development as well as the maturation of your immune system, particularly in early life. So even as you're growing up, your microbiome has a profound effect on how your immune system is going to play a role in the rest of your life. It also helps with immune response regulation. So the gut microbiome, the gut bacteria, can interact with immune cells, helping to regulate immune responses, maintain your immune homeostasis or kind of set point, and help prevent excessive inflammation. So a lot of skin conditions have to do with excessive inflammation of some kind on the skin. That will end up disrupting that skin barrier. So you can see in this picture here, when you have skin microbiome dysbiosis or abnormalities in your skin microbiome, you end up getting barrier defects, water loss, and then a lot of inflammation happens. When you have gut microbiome dysbiosis as well, that can increase a lot of other immune reactions in general, and then cause all that inflammation to kind of present itself on the skin as well. Okay, so like I was starting to say, dysbiosis is an imbalance of the gut microbiome. Um, and what often causes this is poor diet, stress, antibiotics, right? Remember, antibiotics can come in and kill a bunch of different bacteria at once. So it kind of bombs your gut microbiome. And then you have to figure out how to repopulate it again. So that can cause some bacteria that maybe you don't want as much to overgrow, and then those other bacteria that you do want more of to die. So it just causes that imbalance of all of those different microorganisms. Illnesses can also cause an imbalance or a dysbiosis in your gut microbiome. Again, this imbalance can lead to an overgrowth of really harmful bacteria and a decrease in your beneficial ones. Dysbiosis can trigger a lot of inflammatory responses in the body, and those can manifest on your skin. That can look like acne, eczema, rosacea, that flushing or rosiness on your face, hives, urticaria, psoriasis even, or lichen planus. So restoring your gut balance or your gut microbiome is essential for improving some of the symptoms of these skin conditions. Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit. your immune system and your gut. How does that interact and how does that work? So, a significant portion of your body's immune system actually relies and resides in the gut itself. So if you see with this picture here, my pointer is pointing at all of the intestinal lining that you have, or your enterocytes in the gut. So if you remember, where my pointer is right now, that's sort of like the opening, like the hole in your gut itself. Like imagine that your gut is a tube and everything that we're talking about is lining that tube, okay? So on the inside of all that, we have these little patches called gut-associated lymphoid tissue. These patches here, all this immune, like congregation of immune cells. They're responsible for producing immune cells as well as antibodies that help protect against any pathogens. So if you think about it, again, your gut is a way that we interact with our environment. We interact with things that we're eating through that lumen of our digestive tract. And if there's any sort of bad pathogens, bacteria, viruses, anything that comes through our food or anything that comes through our drink, these immune cells can help regulate that. So it can go in and produce an immune reaction and make sure to kill off any pathogen that might be coming through your lumen of your intestine. So gut bacteria end up interacting with your immune cells. They help to regulate the immune response, maintain sort of a set point of your immune system, and prevent excessive inflammation. So again, maintaining gut health is really crucial for a balanced and effective immune system. Okay, so how does that work in relation to skin health? So immune responses that are initiated in the gut. So if you have any sort of pathogen that's coming in and your immune system is mounting a reaction from it, it can have far-reaching effects even in your skin health. So an overactive or an imbalanced immune system response can actually lead to chronic inflammatory skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, acne. On the other side, conversely, having a really healthy gut supports a balanced immune response, and that promotes skin healing and resilience. So understanding this connection helps in managing and preventing skin conditions in general. Okay, another really important part of the gut is nutrient absorption. Seems really obvious here, right? So the GI tract is responsible for absorbing all of the nutrients from the food we eat, right? Makes sense. Starts with chewing from our mouths, and then it goes all the way through the rest of our digestive system, right? We absorb a lot of our nutrients in our small intestine, and these nutrients are vital for maintaining our overall health, including our skin health. So in particular, vitamins and minerals like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, and minerals like zinc and selenium are important for your skin health. So ensuring that there's proper nutrient absorption, there's no gaps or leaky gut junctions, is really essential in preventing skin conditions that might be triggered or caused by these deficiencies. So what do these minerals do? Vitamin A, it helps promote skin cell production and repair. Vitamin D helps with skin growth and repair. Vitamin E helps to protect the skin from any oxidative damage, like being in the sun for too long or other sorts of chemical damages. And then vitamin K supports with blood clotting and wound healing. Minerals like zinc and selenium are really great at maintaining your skin integrity, and they help to reduce inflammation. So a diet that is balanced in all of these minerals and nutrients is really crucial for having proper and good skin health. Vitamin C is another one that is not technically listed here, but that's important for collagen synthesis, right? And we know that collagen is sort of that underlying connective tissue layer underneath our skin, which helps maintain that bounce of our skin, and that plump look to it. Okay, inflammatory conditions. So there's a lot of gastrointestinal conditions like IBD or celiac or even IBS that are triggered with that are associated with systemic inflammation. And this inflammation can exacerbate or trigger skin conditions like psoriasis or eczema or dermatitis. So managing these inflammatory conditions through your diet, through medications, through lifestyle can have an overarching improvement with your skin health. So if someone has any of these diseases, thinking about how to kind of temper that inflammatory response is a really good way so that you don't see any exacerbations like these skin conditions. Okay, let's dive a little bit more into some common skin conditions. So eczema, very, very common skin condition, also known as atopic dermatitis. So how is this linked to your gut health? Research has shown that individuals with eczema often have an imbalance in their gut microbiome, or they have dysbiosis. This imbalance can lead to increased intestinal permeability, also known as leaky gut, allowing for antigens, for toxins, for all of that to enter the bloodstream and trigger an immune response. So that gut-associated lymphoid tissue, that GALT that I was talking about earlier, it produces immune cells and antibodies that can influence your inflammation on a systemic level. So with individuals with eczema, they have an overactive immune response, and that can lead to this chronic inflammation and then a skin barrier disruption. So what might be causing this immune system activation? So there's some studies that show that about 30% of people with moderate to severe eczema actually have food triggers. So dairy, gluten, eggs, all three of those are at the top of the list. But figuring out what your triggers are for eczema can be a really great first step. So you can help manage eczema through gut health, thinking about supplementing with probiotics to help restore a healthy gut microbiome can also help to reduce some of your eczema symptoms. Can also think about prebiotics, right? Prebiotics meaning food for your gut microbiome bacteria. So that can be found in really fiber-rich foods. Yeah, and they support the growth and development of beneficial gut microbiome. You can also think about an anti-inflammatory diet. Remember that eczema is that pro-inflammatory, like over-inflammation on your skin. So an anti-inflammatory diet, foods that are whole foods, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, that can all help decrease some of that inflammation that you're seeing. Oh, and I just kind of want to point this out too. With normal skin, you have an intact barrier. So allergens, bacteria, anything that you're interacting with in your environment can easily just bounce off and go away. But when you have anything like eczema or dermatitis or any sort of inflammation in your skin, that skin barrier is interrupted, meaning that moisture is leaving and you can have more opportunities for things like allergens or bacteria or anything you're interacting with in your environment to come and get absorbed into the skin. Okay, psoriasis. Psoriasis is our big example of a chronic inflammatory skin condition. So this results from an immune system that doesn't work properly, and it it prompts the body's skin cell turnover to keep going, to rapidly increase. And that's why you get the scaling with plaque psoriasis or psoriasis in general. And so that is just accumulation of skin cells on the surface that are kind of building up before you have your old cells that have a chance to kind of flake away like normal. So how is this related to gut health again? So again, it's this idea of it's an inflammatory skin condition that can be made worse if there is more inflammation in your body itself, starting with gut dysbiosis. So having leaky gut, having a dysbiotic microbiome can all increase that immune response and worsen psoriasis. Particularly in the gut, you can have the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines. So these little small molecules that send signals in your body that things should be inflamed, like you are having a reaction. Those are all, they start with that reaction in the gut and they kind of get spread throughout the entire body. So that's one of the things that happens with psoriasis. So how do you manage psoriasis with gut health? So again, thinking about incorporating foods that really promote and engage your microbiome. So fermented foods, yogurt, sauerkraut, kefir, those are those prebiotic foods for the gut. Also, they have bacteria already incorporated in it that you can help reseed and feed that gut microbiome. Also thinking about high fiber foods, right? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains. That can all really support feeding your healthy gut microbiome and leading to a more balanced and diverse microbiome. Can also think about ways to reduce that inflammation in the system. So thinking about omega-3 fatty acids again, and then even vitamin D and zinc, right? Because we just learned earlier that vitamin D and zinc, they can help with cell turnover, and they can also help modulate that immune response so that there's not such a reaction all the time, and therefore can reduce some of that inflammation. So again, this is just a diagram of what it looks like, what psoriasis kind of looks like. You have that plaque that forms because your immune system is just overreacting and overproducing skin cells. Okay, acne. Very, very common, most commonly associated during your adolescence. However, everyone can get acne. So it's essentially a skin condition that happens when your hair follicles, right? All of your little pores, they become plugged with oil and or dead skin cells. So that can cause whiteheads, blackheads, pimples, all of these. So again, it's most common amongst teenagers, but it affects people of all ages. So again, how is this connected to gut health? Well, gut dysbiosis can influence the production of sebum or your skin oil, which then leads to clogged pores, which then leads to acne. So an imbalance of your gut microbiome can affect the regulation of hormones that control the production of skin oil or sebum. Also, chronic inflammation in the gut can contribute to this systemic inflammation and can make acne a lot worse. So the gut-skin axis plays a crucial role in helping to maintain the balance on your skin and then prevent flare-ups of acne. So you might be on the spectrum, you have more propensity to develop acne, but by balancing your microbiome, by balancing the microbiome on your skin, that can prevent acne flare-ups that happen all the time. So how do you manage acne through your gut health? So you can make some dietary changes. So reducing the intake of high glycemic, otherwise known as high sugar foods, thinking about high sugar, high carbs, things that have high levels of glucose in it, as well as decreasing dairy products. Both of those things can trigger acne. So by decreasing high glycemic foods and decreasing dairy products, you can prevent any exacerbation of acne, potentially. I'd also say increasing the intake of all of your anti-inflammatory foods, like we just talked about. increasing your prebiotic foods, your fermented foods, having probiotics. All these things can help rebalance your microbiome and prevent any worsening of acne. Okay. Practical strategies for wellness, for your skin wellness, for your gut wellness. So kind of across the board, when we just talked about all of those different skin conditions, the overarching idea was, how do you support a healthy gut microbiome? And that primarily is through your diet, right? Thinking about a diet rich in probiotics. So yes, you can supplement with probiotics, but it's also wonderful to incorporate probiotics in your food. So thinking about, again, your fermented foods, your yogurt, your kefir, kombucha, kimchi. All of these are excellent ways to both get some diversity in your gut microbiome and to feed it with actual food. So again, these are things you can find at Marlene's, plug for Marlene's here. But you can also take probiotics, right? Also thinking about prebiotics, those are those fiber-rich foods, actual food for the gut microbiome. Again, that helps to balance up your microbiome and make sure you don't have an overgrowth of any unhealthy microbes. Also think about hydration. And I think about this on multiple levels, both drinking enough water, as well as making sure to maintain a hydrated skin barrier itself. So using lotion on your skin. Skin gets really dry, especially during the summer, during the winter time, even in the summertime when you're exposed to a lot of sunlight all the time, right? So making sure that your skin is hydrated, making sure your body's hydrated. And that level of hydration can depend on every person. So I like to say, aim for potentially that 60 ounces, that 72 ounces per day of water, but just making sure that you are drinking consistently throughout the day.
Hey, Dr. Shizue,
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Ker Keratosis pilaris, I'm probably pronouncing that absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Is this from poor exfoliation or direct correlation from a poor gut health? Great question.
Um, I would say maybe it's a little bit of a combination. So, um, you don't necessarily get keratosis pilaris just because you're not exfoliating. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's these tiny little bumps that you can have on your skin. So exfoliation can help, right? Because it can open up all of those skin pores and make sure they're not getting clogged. But again, just like with acne, there can be a correlation with gut health as well. So by balancing your microbiome, you might see that effect in balancing your skin microbiome as well, reducing some of the inflammation and make sure that you're not overproducing skin cells or overproducing oil. So kind of similar to acne, I would say. I hope that helps.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Um, I also have to talk about stress management. So, like we had talked about, high levels of cortisol can affect your gut microbiome as well as your skin microbiome and can negatively affect your skin health, right? It triggers inflammatory responses across the board. So, thinking about techniques to help manage your stress, like the classic ones are things like meditation, yoga, mindfulness, all of those things help to reduce stress. Um, but also getting regular physical activity and good sleep at night. All that can help maintain the integrity of your gut microbiome and your skin microbiome and make sure that your body is able to handle cortisol when it does come up. So there's no situations, there's no humans out there that have zero levels of cortisol, but we can all figure out ways how to modulate our cortisol, what to do when it spikes up and how to bring it back down low, right? So also think about your vagus nerve. So for those of you who don't know, your vagus nerve is your big cranial nerve, comes from your brain and goes all the way through your body. It runs through your neck, through your chest, and it goes all the way into your gut itself, into your digestive system. So that is the king of your parasympathetic nervous system, or your rest and digest nervous system. So I also think about ways to stimulate your vagus nerve. And so I'll just kind of list off a couple of things, a few things that you can try in the moment. These are things that you can do that take very little time. You don't have to be a yoga practitioner. You don't have to meditate every day. You don't necessarily have to do mindfulness. These are ways to just help lower your cortisol levels on a moment-to-moment basis. So thinking about breathing exercises. So what I call a 4-7-8 breathing exercise, where you inhale from your nose for 4 seconds, you hold for 7 seconds, and you exhale for 8. So doing that cycle a few times, breathing in that way a few times, can help stimulate your vagus nerve. Other things also help stimulate your vagus nerve, like gargling, right? Gargling water, humming. Humming can vibrate your vagus nerve as it passes through your chest. So even just humming your favorite song for 30 seconds can be really helpful in reducing your stress and your cortisol levels. Also think about really simple things like splashing cold water on your face or ending your shower with a little bit of cold water. Those are all ways to just kind of snap your body out from its parasympathetic, I'm running from bears state into a more relaxed parasympathetic state where you're able to handle and manage any spikes of cortisol or any stress that you might be having in your life. So, had to talk about that a little bit. Okay, and that is the end of my content for today. So I want to open it up for questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shizue. I loved how you brought up the whole stress point. I will hum and do some good body stretches to kind of wiggle out the stress of the day. Oh, we have a great question here. Does kefir contain dairy, non-lactose yogurt?
Good question. So kefir is sort of just a technique of how you prepare milk products. So cow's milk kefir, yes, it does contain dairy. However, it's fermented. And what that means is that the lactose, like the thing that triggers a lot of people who are lactose intolerant, the lactose ends up getting broken down with kefir. So even though it is cow's milk, um, and it does contain dairy, a lot of people are able to tolerate a little bit better than regular milk because that lactose is broken down. So yes, technically it contains dairy, but you can experiment with it and see if you're able to tolerate it. Kefir is a great way to add in all those fermented probiotic, prebiotic foods. Non-lactose yogurt is also a great option too. Actually, going back, there's coconut kefir, there's soy milk kefir. They make kefir with a lot of different non-dairy products too. So you can also check out some of those options and see if you like the taste of them. And of course, there are non-dairy yogurts out there. Coconut yogurt, soy yogurt, almond milk yogurt. All those things are a great way to incorporate those prebiotic foods, probiotic foods that maybe don't aggravate things like acne.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the coconut yogurt that's my favorite. It comes in the glass jar. Um, Goodness gracious. I'm drawing a blank, but we have so many great options at Marlene. So if you're not sure what's out there and good high quality, you can always depend on Marlene's having your back with high quality standards.
Yeah, there's always so many great options. Another one that I like too is cashew milk kefir from Forager, and I think Marlene's has that too. Really good option, tastes delicious, and I can't tell that it's dairy free.
I can't believe this is not dairy.
Exactly.
Um, I've made coconut kefir before, and it was really fun taking like I would blend up strawberries and like make my own fun flavors for the week. And I'm sure there's a couple of um gut healing fruits that you can just mix in there, because why not?
Exactly. Why not? Yeah.
And I had put in the chat earlier, one of my favorite probiotics is by Dr. O'Hara's, and they have pre they have prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics, and they're on sale all month long at Marlene's for 25% off. I have recently got my boyfriend to listen and take probiotics, and he's like, can I get more of that? Because that stuff I feel so much better, like instantly. And then another one, you had mentioned, like hydrating on the surface as well as not only internal. Seaweed Bath Company is an amazing line that we carry at Marlene's, and they do hair care, skincare, bath products. I was covered with over 80% of psoriasis on my body, and doing the Dr. O'Hara's and then the Seaweed Bath Company. And then I had taken some other supplements as soon as my gut garden was a little bit healthier to actually absorb, which I'm so grateful you brought that up about being able to actually absorb our nutrients. We could be putting in all the good stuff and not be getting any of it internally at all. Um, and then I also did red light therapy too, and that helped a lot. So
Mm.
just some suggestions for those who dealt with psoriasis and um, yeah.
I have a question.
Hmm.
For Shizu, do you, with all the vitamins and minerals you were talking about, um, do you take supplements or do you mainly derive it from your foods that you eat?
It's a good question. So, in general, if everything is pretty healthy, I would say that you can, for the most part, get all of your nutrients from foods. However, people have different diets that they might be on where they're not necessarily getting the same nutrients that they might need. So, for instance, if you're vegan, it's hard to get enough B12 that you need to kind of sustain everything in your body. So, I would supplement in those cases. But I'd also say, like, if there is something going on, right? Like, if you have something like psoriasis or any sort of condition that's happening, then I wouldn't hesitate to supplement with some of the things that you might need. For instance, if you do have some gut dysbiosis going on, and you're not absorbing your nutrients well, then yeah, you're going to need something. Maybe you need some more nutrients in the meantime while you're working on gut repair. Or maybe you need some supplements to help kind of repair that gut itself. Maybe you need probiotics in there. So there's definitely situations where I would never hesitate to supplement, but I don't necessarily think that everybody needs just like a regular multivitamin unless there's a reason.
Okay. What do you use? Um, do you use like a certain kind of probiotic, like an actual like drink, or do you use yogurt?
Well, I struggle with gut health issues, right? So I actually use a probiotic because I want to make sure that I have a good balance of all the different microflora in my gut. So yeah, I use one of the products that we carry here at Federal Way Naturopathy. But there's a ton of different probiotics, including Dr. Ohhira's that are out there. I want you to make sure that there's enough bacteria in whatever probiotic that you're taking, just so that it gets through into your gut itself. Um, so just something to consider. I just find that people are not eating enough like yogurts or probiotic rich foods on a regular basis. So if that's the case, then yeah, supplement with a probiotic.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Great questions.
Can I have a question? So if you're, I have a family member who's got rosacea, but she is taking most of those supplements at this time, but I think, I don't know, it seems like there've been a couple of, and this is not to disparage or anything, just a comment of maybe um, that she's seen by by another practitioner, and that there really hasn't been that much management of the skin condition, which is maybe rosacea. It's throughout the whole face. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. So I guess I'm not exactly sure how to form the question. How would you approach if you saw this person?
Yeah, you mean that there's been too much emphasis on maybe the gut and not enough on the actual skin itself? Is that what you're seeing?
Well, or maybe just it's not being addressed.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, I am just addressing one way to kind of formulate and look at skin conditions, some
Okay.
factors that might be happening on a systemic level. But
Hmm.
sometimes you do need to address the skin itself, right? Because you
Hmm.
do have barrier dysfunction with a lot of these conditions, including rosacea.
Hmm.
And sometimes you need something topical on there to help reduce some of that inflammation, reduce some of those symptoms so
Hmm.
that things get a little easier to manage, right? So this is what I'm talking about with the gut health and the skin health is not the cure all. So I'm not
Right.
saying
Absolutely.
if you change your gut microbiome, then all your symptoms are going to disappear. That is not true.
Mhm.
However, there is that connection there. So optimizing your gut health can help with your skin health. And then you can see sort of those bidirectional relationships there. So I would still, even if I believed that one of the triggers for the rosacea was gut health and we were working on that aspect of it, I would still want to make sure to address the skin itself, right? Um,
And what's the
because
approach? What's the approach for that? Just
a lot of different things.
Do
So
you
we
mean
work
like
with,
you personally with your family member? Is that what you're meaning?
well, I have rosacea also, but no, it's
Mhm.
not me I'm talking about. Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
I
I
said
sorry. I thought you meant like how do you approach your family member?
no, no, no. I meant what would be the health, the naturopathic approach to
Gotcha.
it. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, again, I think
Gotcha.
about, are there any triggers for the rosacea? Is it stress? Is it a food thing? Is it something else going on? Um, but we also work with compounding pharmacies as naturopaths. Maybe other professions do as well. And compounding pharmacies are able to formulate really specific like creams and lotions and gels and things like that that have a number of different things you can put on topically and help decrease some inflammation. So that's one of the places I'd start. And, you formulate it specifically for each person based on what they're experiencing, how sensitive their skin is, because the skin, everybody's a little bit different, as you know. Everyone has a different type of skin, whether or not it's dry or a combination or whatever. Um, and they like different products in different ways. So that's probably where I'd start. There's a number of different formulations that I like to use for people, but yeah.
Well, this has
Something
been
topical.
helpful. I guess this has been helpful for me because I've overemphasized, or I mean, in my mind, I didn't make the connection of kind of a dual problem. It was like I thought it was always from the gut health that was manifest in the skin, not that
Hmm.
there was a separate process going on in the skin. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
helped.
Great
Amazing.
questions.
So Kelly, I hope that did that understood. I made it clear what I was. Did
Yeah,
I
yeah,
answer?
yeah. I thought
Address your question?
yeah. No,
Okay.
I thought you were meaning something
Oh, okay.
else, but yeah.
Mhm.
Sounds like we're all on the same page now.
Okay.
Well, perfect. Does anyone else have any more questions? We'd love to hear from you.
Hi. I wasn't able to, for some reason, connect to the meeting through my Zoom. So it took me, I got in fairly late. And I'm wondering, is this going to be available to watch later on the web or
Yes,
catch up on the information I missed?
yes. So we are gonna have it on our YouTube channel later this week. Let me snag the YouTube link channel.
I connected by dialing, which is kind of challenging for me to follow along with you guys. I did not realize
Oh yeah.
it
Yeah.
would be so, just
Well,
listening in.
yeah, so
So
if
yeah,
you're not able to see the chat box, but the YouTube channel is just Marlene's Market Deli online, and so you can find us on YouTube. And we do have a direct link from our website too.
okay, all right. And it'll be on later this month?
It will be.
Okay, perfect. Um, just question is, because I did miss so much, what would you recommend for hydration of, and again, it's the oils of the skin. I'm older. I've menopause, post-menopause several years now, and I just cannot seem to get hydrated properly, and my skin is just so dry, despite my best efforts.
Yeah, so in this case, I would make sure that you're getting hydrated from within too, right? Because our body pulls from our gut from what we're drinking and helps to rehydrate our skin. So one, making sure you're drinking enough water and you having electrolytes in your water so that your body has the opportunity to pull in all of that water from what you're drinking, right? So that's one step. You can get electrolytes at Marlene's. I know they have some great options there. The other step
So are you talking
is,
like trace minerals or electrolytes? Because I have salt in my diet. Is there a
yeah,
difference?
talking about trace minerals and electrolytes in general. So there's some products that have both in there, right? A little bit of trace minerals and a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar. And again, when you're putting that in your water itself, it helps your body to absorb it better, right? So not just talking
Okay.
about salt in your diet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I also think about, there's a lot of different products. Again, it's hard for me to make a recommendation because I don't know your specific skin. But thinking about a little bit more of occlusive moisturizers, especially at night. We lose a lot of moisture from our skin at night. So thinking about things that sort of help to block and put in all that moisture when you're sleeping. So there's been this big trend with dermatologists lately that barrier creams, like, diaper creams, things like that. I know it sounds crazy, but putting that on your skin is a really good occlusive moisturizer, helps lock in everything at night so that you don't lose as much. So that's something to think about. But I'm just thinking about,
If you
consistent.
can sleep in it. Yeah, that sounds tough to sleep in, but it's at least an option.
Yeah, just
I know
something
I've
that locks
tried
it in.
coconut oil before for orally, which it did help. Unfortunately, it flared my rosacea. So
Yeah. Okay.
that's
Um,
no go.
Also think about omega-3 fatty acids, right? So that can help bring moisture to the skin itself without having something topical on your skin. But yeah,
Okay.
vitamin E, omega-3 fish oils, heavy doses of that. I'm talking about, 2 to 3 grams of a good quality omega-3 fatty acid is a good idea to help keep your skin really hydrated.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned we lose a lot of moisture at night when we're sleeping. Is that just because our bodies are just busy regenerating and all that? Okay.
Yeah, your skin does a lot of regeneration at night. Also, you're sleeping, you're not drinking anything, right? You're not intaking anything. So you're just losing moisture as you sleep.
Okay. Just more curious.
Yeah.
That's great. That's what I love about these classes is when um we all get to chat together, we all get more curious and inspired. And we're like, "Ooh, I never
Mhm.
thought."
Well,
Also,
thank you for that. I appreciate it.
oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for being here.
Mhm.
Doc, um, Dr. Shizue, I'm grateful you brought up the the omega-3s because we have the Barlean's educator on Zoom actually later this week. So
Perfect.
it all fits in together talking about hydrating, get that good hydration.
Yep, timing couldn't be better.
Indeed. Well, I thank you again. You are just always a treat to work with, and I learned so much from your presentations and look forward to many more with you. And everyone there down at Federal Way Naturopathy are just fabulous. Please tell Dr. Whalen I said hi.
I will. I will. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.